a man who's in an outstanding new movie, A Bridge of Spies. The wife and I saw it last Friday. 2 enthusiastic thumbs up. And he's phoning in from New York City right now. 2-time Academy Award winner Tom Hanks here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Tom?
Who books this show? Who is it? Who is it? Who's on White Snake? Who's on later on?
No. That's a different.
AC/DC?
No.
Hog Hat? Who you having on?
No, none of those. It's gonna be the folks of Def Leppard.
Oh my Lord!
Yes.
Holy cow!
Yeah, that's in studio later on.
I pray for a fist fight between them and Brett Sagerhagen just to see.
Yeah, they might throw down together, but Brett will still probably protect that right pitching hand, Tom.
Well,
Probably.
he might get a call up. He pitched for both, you say.
Yes, he did. How are things with you, Tom? Everything good?
Super duper.
Excellent. I appreciate you calling into the show.
Big fan. First time caller. Thanks for taking my call.
I appreciate that.
Hey, I got a question about Thursday night football. Do the players really hate it?
You know what? Some of them do, but then today they don't because they have half a weekend off.
That's it.
Yes, they get to go do things on a weekend that they normally can't do, like maybe even trick-or-treating with their kids.
Now, next week, I understand, it's all the NFL channel. No more CBS.
Yes.
What's that about?
We're not sharing it with CBS anymore, Tom. We're just not gonna for just the next 6 games.
Is CBS bringing back a CSI from somewhere to take up the programming space?
I do believe Mom premieres next weekend.
Oh, well, that's a good show.
I think it might be America's #1 new old comedy. I think that's what
they'll figure out a way to call it #1 in some category.
What's with that? They've got #1 everything.
Dude, there's people in offices and buildings that are dedicated to come up with those very sorts of monikers.
There's crunching the numbers as we speak.
Those superlatives.
Right now. Now we had Dennis Miller on the show during the summer, and he told a story that you wrap up your emails with a tribute to Ken Stabler.
That's right, sir.
Is that true?
This is correct. Now, I grew up in Oakland, California during the heydays of the Oakland Raiders. Mm-hmm. If you were to puncture my veins, they would bleed silver and black. Actually, Dennis told me about this fabulous story, which I since and went up and looked up. It was a profile on Kenny, the Snake Stabler, one of the crafty left-handed quarterbacks.
Yes.
And he was asked what he thought of the quote by Jack London that said, "I would rather die a fiery comet than survive as an icy planet," or something like that. And he says, "What do you think of that? What do you think that means, Kenny?" He said, "Well, throw deep, baby." So I think if you're gonna for life and love and your pursuits of art and creation, I think Kenny Stabler had it's the advice we should all take.
Just when in doubt,
throw deep, baby.
That's right.
He was the Mad Bomber, We had he had Warren Wells and Cliff Branch, and he would come back and he'd let fly. And that it always struck me as kind of like, and also Mr. Stabler was a legend in so many other ways.
Yes.
He once said there was nothing wrong with studying the playbook by the jukebox light.
By the light of the jukebox is how he was learning the playbook. Yeah. And so, did you spend time in the black hole? Did you go to games, Tom?
I was not of the economic level that could afford such things as NFL football games. But on those occasions when the Coliseum would sell out, and we could watch like the greatest games on the planet Earth were the Oakland Raiders versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the Len Dawson era and what have you. That was the Jets versus the Sharks. It was the Russian front. It was two forces that just hated each other so much. And Kansas City would come in those beautiful red uniforms, with the arrowhead, and they would look so gleaming, and they had white face masks on their helmets. These were the things that were important to a 13-year-old. And we would greet them with the silver and black. And we seemed to always beat them 2 out of 3 games, but then the third game was always the one that went to the Super Bowl, it seemed. But then but Kenny Stabler changed all that.
Yes, he did.
Throw deep, baby.
He did. Tom Hanks joining me here on The Rich Eisen Show. What about the prospect of the Raiders no longer being in Oakland or even in the state of California,
This
Tom?
is bone-crushing. It makes you lose faith with all the social contract that professional football supposedly professes to have with its fan base. Mm-hmm. We've experienced it. Look, I'm old enough to remember when somehow the Baltimore Colts packed up and moved under cover of the night.
Yes, in Mayflower trucks.
I was very much aware of when Art Modell packed up the old Cleveland Browns and moved them to Baltimore in the wink of an eye. And the idea that the Oakland Raiders would not be the Oakland Raiders, but would be, where would they go? What would they become?
It's possible San Antonio, Tom. It's possible St. Louis, maybe, if the Rams move to L.A., and it's entirely possible that you may hear about the St. Louis Raiders or San Antonio Raiders.
Well, you know what? Then I'm giving up, and I'm just going straight to the CFL. I don't know if I'll root for the Ottawa Rough Riders or the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, but I'm just going to go to Canada for my football.
Now, Colin has said you have been to games together.
We went to the Grey Cup in Regina. Yes. Regina. Say it twice.
Is this thing on?
Hello.
Yes.
Anybody? Where are you from, sir? Anybody from? We went to the Grey Cup, in which we saw the Hamilton Tiger Cats take on their actually the home team, the Sea of Green, as they're called, the Regina Rough Riders. I can't remember. No, the Saskatchewan.
The Saskatchewan.
And it was. I have never been colder in my life.
No.
Well, because the fabulous thing about Canadian football fans is they are not intimidated by the cold. They actually built extra bleachers in order to pack them in up there.
Metal bleachers.
They were metal bleachers, and I think everybody stood. They called it the Sea of Green, the Saskatchewan fans, because they have green uniforms. So they have an arrow pointing up, sky of blue, and an arrow pointing down in the fans, Sea of Green, which is great. And they have a two-fisted beer drinking policy, is that you go and you get 2 beers, and you hold one in each hand. And here's the thing, they are not of the same brand. You'll have a Molson in one hand and a Labatt's 50-50 in the other.
And they're more leaded up there, right?
I think they pack a punch. I think they do, and they might be tall boys that they have.
I love it.
But you know, you have a gloved hand around a cold beer, and it is totally freezing. You can actually see the expression on the players' faces about halfway through the second quarter. They just have that kind of look.
Yes.
It says it's too cold to play.
Tom Hanks joining me here on The Rich Eisen Show. Bridge of Spies in a theater near you. Go see it. It's fantastic. Before I do let you go, Colin has told the story on this show. You've told it on Letterman. I've watched football games with my dad, but I've never really played the game that the two of you play, which is you see a cutaway of a coach and wonder what that coach would be like as a stepfather. As a
stepfather, yeah. They all have that kind of look of you either fear them or ridicule them. It works. It pretty much works for and you know exactly whether he's going to be the kind of guy that's going to come into your room without knocking and say, "Hey, pal, I'm going to have to rattle your cage," you know, that kind of thing, or just a dude who says, "How you doing, Tiger?"
Yeah.
Coughlin of the New York Giants is the classic benevolent, not there stepdad. You get a feeling that every time you walk into the room, he'll just look up at you from the papers. "How you doing, Tiger? You okay, Tiger? Everything good, Tiger? How's school, Tiger? You need some money for gas? Here you go. Here's $5. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Russ."
The one that Colin said was Tom Sula, the current coach of the 49ers, is a type of stepdad that when you come in, he cuts you off no matter what you're saying to scream at his wife, "Where's the clicker? Honey, where's the clicker?" That's what he said. He looks
at you like you lost it.
That's what he said.
You and your hoodlum friends come in here. You hide the clicker.
So now you are currently in New York playing Sully Sullenberger? Is that what you are doing right now?
Yes, I'm currently filming with Clint Eastwood, recreating the Miracle on the Hudson, in which Sullenberger landed the U.S. Airways Flight 1549, in which all 155 people on board survived.
So
Miracle on the Hudson.
And so you could go trick-or-treating tonight or tomorrow as Sully right now.
I could either go as Sully, but because my hair is white, as is my mustache, I might go as Bob Keesham.
You're going to go as the captain?
The Captain Kangaroo. I'm trying to get Rita to dress up as either Mr. Green Jeans or Mr. Moose to come along with me. And these are throwback references, Rich.
Yes.
That go so far.
I like
it. If any of your listeners are on the internet,
yes.
they might not know any of these references.
Well, it is definitely pre-internet, but at least we have that to go check
out. Are you a terrestrial radio broadcast?
We're terrestrial. We're satellite. We're international on an app. Tom, as you know, there's not enough platforms to contain me.
So you're on thus all the irritating commercials. Okay, I got it now.
I can't do. Look, I can't do anything about that.
Well, you got to get paid, my friend.
Look, somebody's got to pay for the roof over the head. That's all I'm saying. Tom, it's a great movie. Bridge of Spies is fantastic.
Thank you very much,
You
Rich.
are fantastic in it, and congrats on that. And I really appreciate you calling into the show, Tom.
Happy to do it. You're one of my favorite people.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. We'll chat soon, hopefully.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You bet. That's Tom Hanks.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.